Hello, welcome to SABA Studios. My name is Daryl Horn. I have the privilege of serving as the Executive Director of the San Antonio Baptist Association. In studio today, we have Dr. Keith Bruce. He is the Acting Director of the Truett Theological Baptist Seminary here in San Antonio. Dr. Bruce has lived in San Antonio a long time and has worked in other positions, not only being a pastor, but a leader in other ways. And now he is working with Truett Seminary. Dr. Bruce, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for the opportunity, Daryl.
We look forward to hearing about what God's doing at Truett. And we're just going to go ahead and jump into a conversation. And I have a couple of questions for Dr. Bruce, and we'll get to learn more about Truett and what God is doing at Truett. I know that school has just recently started within the last week or two. What are some of your goals for school this school year?
Thank you, Daryl. And again, thanks for the opportunity to share a little bit about Truett Seminary here in San Antonio, we actually have just completed 2 years. We began in the fall of 2021 with 4 students. And so we have grown. We now have 15 students, head count, that are involved in our classes here in San Antonio, and we're excited about that. Interestingly, we actually have 2 international students who have come from Uganda and Kenya to study here in San Antonio at Truett Seminary. So it's been so exciting to see what God is doing. I think as far as some goals for this year is, first of all, simply to continue to grow Truett, to get that word out. And thank you again for an opportunity like this that we have to share with folks that Truett is here and is wanting to be a part of this community. We really are seeking to grow community at Truett. We don't want to be just an extension campus where students show up for class, but we really are doing some things to enhance our local community, our local fellowship. We have a wonderful facility that is a dedicated facility located at Trinity Baptist Church, very centrally located. So we do some things like Taco Tuesdays at Truett and some things of that to build community.
You couldn't live in San Antonio
without Taco Tuesday, no doubt. And then I would say that one thing particularly that I want to do in these months ahead is that now we really have our campus kind of up and going to a degree, but I want to learn what the needs are in our community, not just for our students, but how can we serve the churches and the pastors and the other staff members? What sort of conferences might we offer? What sort of events might be good? And so one of my really personal goals is to really better connect even with churches to find out how Truett can serve our community and serve our churches and serve our pastors.
So in 2 years, you've grown from 4 to 15.
We have, which is not a large number, but it's a pretty good percentage-wise, I guess.
Yes, as percentage of growth, everybody would love to have that kind of growth.
Really.
What are some of the programs that students are studying?
Well, at Truett in San Antonio, we offer 3 basic degrees. We have the Master of Divinity, which is, of course, kind of, I guess, what you might call the gold standard. It is an 87-hour degree. And is available here in San Antonio. Our 2 other primary degrees are the Master of Arts in Christian Ministry. It is a 60-hour degree, and as you are aware, is a little bit more focused on the practical side of ministry. And then we actually have a Master of Theological Studies degree that is a 48-hour degree. That particular degree that Truett offers is designed primarily for those who feel that their eventual calling to ministry is more in the world of academics. Yeah. And so it is preparing a student with a lot of the historical, theological language to prepare them to move then into a PhD program somewhere. And so those are the 3 major degrees here at San Antonio.
Good. We all know that different schools have a different character about them, a different feel. What makes Truett unique?
Yeah, and I think I'll speak not only for San Antonio, but for Truett as large. Truett Seminary, of course, is a part of Baylor University. And so to have a seminary embedded into a major research university such as Baylor provides a fairly unique setting. And so that gives us an opportunity even in some interdisciplinary things. Now, these programs are not at this point all available here in San Antonio, but you can at Truett get a combination degree of master an MDiv with a Master's of Social Work, a Master of Education, a Master of Business Administration, even a Juris Doctorate. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not sure about preacher lawyers, lawyer preachers, how that works, but that is one of the degrees, because Truett's mission is to prepare men and women who are called to gospel ministry to serve in and alongside Christ's church. And so we want to prepare ministers not only for service in the church, but we realize also that there is, I don't know if this is a current term, but we used to call it the parachurch organizations, people who are going to be administrators of children's homes and hospitals and who are going to be FCA leaders and other places like that. And so some of these combined degree programs, especially that Truett offers, are a part of that. I would say one other thing that I have found as I have gotten more involved in Truett is that there is a unique combination and real strong focus at Truett Seminary on the rigorous academics and the practical, but that combined with very intentional spiritual formation and character formation. And that is a required part of our students and of what we do at Truett. And so not only are they going to grow knowledge-wise in their knowledge of theology and history, practical-wise in their ministry training, but also going to grow in our own relationship with Christ and what it means to be formed in Christ. Yeah. And so those are unique.
That leads into my next question is, let's say I'm a new student, I just enrolled. What should I expect campus life or my studies and all that? You mentioned spiritual formation. What would be some other things that would characterize somebody coming on campus and being a part of Truett Seminary?
Sure. And again, speaking at this point more to San Antonio than to our main campus in Waco. Again, I think that first of all, you will find an academically rigorous and very strong program academically. We use primarily adjunct faculty here, but thankfully here in San Antonio, we have some individuals who have equal qualities with and equal qualifications, I should say, with our faculty in Waco. And so that has been very, very strong in that. We really do, as I've again already alluded to, seek to build community here in San Antonio. So you're not just showing up for class and taking off, but we really are trying to do some activities to bring our students together. And I might say that having our facility at Trinity Baptist Church, I've been very pleasantly surprised, I guess, but it's been very rewarding. Oftentimes our students will arrive an hour and a half before class and to fellowship together, to study together. At this point, most of our classes have been in the evening to accommodate the working schedules of people, somewhat of a non-traditional student that we are tending to attract right now. And so it gives them an opportunity to be a part of that. And then the spiritual formation, again, I would say is a very intentional part. You are required as a student at Truett to participate in 4 semesters that include somewhat of a 1-hour academic study of spiritual formation. But we know that that's not what spiritual formation is about. And so every student at Truett participates for at least 4 semesters in a spiritual formation covenant group where they are together with a mentor learning and putting into practice these principles of spiritual formation that is culminated with a spiritual formation retreat. And so, again, that is a very important part of that. I would add to that that mentoring is an important part. And especially as we grow here in San Antonio, we're going to be looking for places for our students to shadow, whether that be a pastor, a youth minister, a director of missions, a children's home administrator, whatever, to help them kind of learn and to be a part of that. We also want to increase our internships. To where our students can really learn on the job and help in their educational process as well.
I remember a pastor recently telling me, he made in a conversation made the comment, I could read that in a book. Well, what I hear you explaining is, yeah, you can read it in a book, but there's also a personal part that a student would experience. Yes. Being a student there. It's that personal connection and interaction where iron sharpens iron, and they would grow and mature not only because of the academics, but also because of their interaction with other believers.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing that up because I think that is invaluable, and I'm grateful for online programs. I'm grateful that they're available for students, but at Truett and at Baylor, we do have a few online classes, have one actually online master's degree in sports ministry, which is another unique aspect of Truett, being part of a Power 5 conference, though our football team last weekend was not very Power 5, but it gives some opportunity in that. But that said, there's a high commitment, again, not only in the spiritual formation program, but in our classes, a high commitment to in-person study. And I would add that our classes here in San Antonio are all in person. They, again, have the professor there on site, and there is something, even when you're studying history, theology, preaching, whatever it may be, about that personal interaction that is very important. So,
even though you may only have 15 students, one of the benefits of only having 15 students is the teacher knows your name.
No kidding.
You're not one of 300 in a class.
Right. And, although when I was in seminary, that anonymity was sometimes good as well.
Yeah, especially if you're in Greek class and you show up and haven't done your homework. That's always nice. Well, if you're watching and you would like information about becoming a student at Truett, how would they find the information about becoming a student?
Certainly, as most places, our website, which is baylor.edu/Truett, and you can find there information about all of the programs, and there's a separate site for San Antonio. I might mention, by the way, I don't know if you knew this, but we also have an extension campus in Houston. That is in Northwest Houston at the Lanier Theological Library.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At
and so that's a very partnership with Lanier. If you're familiar with it, is a phenomenal program. We actually have just moved into Lanier Library and are grateful for that partnership over in Houston. But certainly, the website, as I gave, baylor.edu/Truett. Certainly, please give me a call at Truett San Antonio. Be glad to help meet with folks anytime.
We will keep the contact information for Truett up at the end of the video. You can gather that information there and make any appropriate contacts that you need to. Before we close, any final comments?
Yeah, I want to kind of say just two quick things. We certainly would value students. We value wanting to know how we can serve the community. So if there are pastors who are listening, have needs, and say, hey, think about a conference in that'd be great. I would mention one thing particularly. We are having a continuing education conference the last of October. Dr. Kimlin Bender from Truett will be doing an intensive study of Corinthians. He has just written a new commentary on that, and so there's information again on the website about that. Would welcome folks. It's a kind of a Friday night, Saturday seminary level intensive, and that would lead me to say that one program that I not mentioned that Truett has is a wonderful online continuing education degree. that is seminary level, though it's not accredited and not a degree, but is very powerful for lay people, for somewhat beginning ministers, if you would, for folks that might want to kind of think a little bit about and understand a little bit more about what seminary education might be, and that can be found on our website. And then one final thing that I must say is that oftentimes being a part of Baylor, private school and everything, people immediately think sticker shock. How could I begin to afford that education? But let me say that God has blessed Truett. Baylor supports Truett. Our cost is very comparable to the cost of any of our denominational seminaries, many of the seminaries in other denominations. It is right on par with that. And as I have said for many years to students at the undergraduate or graduate level, that God has blessed our institutions as Baptists to where that education can be affordable for you and your situation. And so please do not let those types of things hold you back for making application at Truett Seminary.
Well, if you feel called to ministry, please check out Truett Seminary. A call to ministry is a call to study, a call to prepare, and we believe in lifetime learning. No matter what age you are, you should continue to learn and to grow because you're still alive and still serving the Lord, and growing mentally, spiritually, physically, in every way is very, very important. And don't let finances keep you from getting your education. God can provide and has provided before you ever enroll by providing scholarships and other financial means. Thank you, Dr. Bruce, for being a part of our SABA studios. Check out Truett Seminary. Please call Dr. Bruce if you need anything. I know he would be glad to help. Thank you once again for watching SABA Studios.